can single parents raise children with multiple languages? Single parents and solo parenting parents tend to wonder how they could possibly manage to pass on 2 or more languages to their children. Before I go into details, I want to make sure that we are on the same page. No matter if we are single parents, solo parenting or not, it's advisable to determine a main language we speak with our children from day one. This should be a language that we are fluent in, that we can express our emotions in, and where we don't need to look up words or phrases to communicate with our children. For multilingual parents, it's not always easy to determine this language, but once we have decided what language to primarily speak with our children, we can think about what other language or languages to add, when and why. Single parents or solo parenting parents, all parents to be honest, already have a lot on their plate, and adding multiple languages to it can be too much. But it can also be a pleasure, and especially when there is a need, and both the parent and the child are motivated and are enjoying it, it can be a great experience. Let's assume we are talking about 2 languages to start with. What language do we need to speak with our child? If we want to pass on 2 languages we're fluent in, maybe we grew up bilingual or multilingual ourselves. There are different scenarios. Let's keep it simple and assume we have 2 languages only. Either both languages are minoritized or minority language in our community, or one of them is a language of the community. If one language is also the community language, we can rely on a pool of speakers outside of our home in the community who can help with that language. And we can fully concentrate on the main language we pass on to our children. If both languages are not languages of our community, and we are the only person who speaks them with our child, we need to decide which language is the main language and how we can introduce and support the second language. In both situations, we need, like I always say, a multilingual village to raise a multilingual child, no matter if we are solo parenting or not. Let's see how we can find this village. What we are looking for is people in our life that are ready to support our language regularly. That's to say, who speak it with our child on a regular basis. Needs to be people who are motivated to support our children with age-appropriate input, who can also use maybe a variety of resources. And people from different age groups, with preferably also children of the same age or a little bit older. What about people in the immediate community like teachers, babysitters, nannies, au pairs, neighbors? By finding people who provide the main input in the other language, our children will understand that different persons in their life transmit different languages. Ideally, this person is an integrative part of our daily or weekly life over a longer period of time, maybe a year or longer. But what if we need to do the most part of the work because there's no other person we can assign this task? Again, I'm talking about the additional language here, the one we occasionally speak with our child. If a child is still very young, I'm talking about baby, toddler, or preschooler, we can create moments or situations that I call multilingual islands on a regular basis and make them become a routine. We can choose to sing in both languages, read in both languages, or do a particular activity in that language. I know a father who speaks the other language with his daughter at breakfast, for example. What is important is that the back and forth between the languages, when we are the only one transmitting it, is dictated by the choice of the activity, the book, the song, etc., and makes sense to the child. The best solution with very young children is to speak the other language, let's call it the blue language, exclusively in the presence of people who speak it. For example, if blue is the community language, we speak it when out and about, when meeting people who speak blue, or when they come and visit us and our child. We'd opt for the language blue, that everyone understands. With babies, toddlers, and preschool children, the time and place strategy might not be the best solution yet. I link to a video about the family language strategies. This time and place strategy might not be the best solution yet unless we are very strict by defining the situation where we only use the blue language and it is clear that there is a need to do so. Like I mentioned, because another person is present and that person only speaks the blue language. Around age 4, children tend to be able to distinguish the languages. This is when we can choose to speak blue, for example, in the weekend, and red during the week. We can involve our children in the decision-making process as soon as they are aware of the different languages. And as I said, some children gain this awareness around age 4, others a bit later. Around age 8, children tend to have an understanding for time. What 5 minutes feels like or what an hour feels like. As soon as our children have the sense for time, we can choose to speak language blue in the morning and language red in the evening, or in given situations where there's only us. Together with our children, we can come up with a solution or a plan. If you need help with this, don't hesitate to contact me. I leave a link in the description. Every situation is different and deserves a tailored solution that fits the family. Here are some aspects to consider. What languages do we need to speak with our child? What languages does our child need to speak, maybe later read and write, on a regular basis to function at home and in the community? What is the time frame to attain these goals where we live now at the moment and also in the foreseeable future? Are we the only ones passing on this language? How much time and energy can we dedicate to each language? Is there one language that we want or have to focus on more for our own interest or the one of the child? Who else can we involve in the plan? And who else is part of our multilingual village? First and foremost, speaking these languages, passing them on, shouldn't be a burden or a task, but something we enjoy. If it's not the right time for us to start from day one, there are always alternative solutions, like passing on one of the languages a bit later, in other contexts and circumstances. In fact, second, third, fourth languages can be actively added later or by having a person in our child's preferably daily life who can provide meaningful input in the language or through formal instruction at school, for example. No matter what works for us right now, our children need regular and quality input and conversations to acquire and learn a language, to become fluent in it. This all said, in every multilingual family there are always one or two, in some cases even more, languages that are more important, because we need them in our everyday life with peers, the community, at school, at daycare, and other languages that are more in the background. Depending on the situation and phase of life, these languages can shift. Find the link to my video about language shift in the description. No matter what works for you right now, you need other people to provide various input in the target languages. Whether these people are in your home, in your family, among your friends, and it all depends on your situation. Find out who is supportive for each language, and that they are also supportive for the multilingual upbringing of your child. You don't want anyone to transmit the feeling that language gray is more important and better than language yellow. To sum it up, determine the languages you can transmit yourself, find people who can provide quality input in the other languages, and so find out how you can delegate some tasks to others. And little input is better than nothing, but it needs to make sense for your child, and your child has to be prompted to understand and use the language if the language is one your child needs to function in the family and the community. If you want more tips on how to foster your children's language skills, please have a look at Annalisa Miranda and my Toolbox for Multilingual Families, where we share 123 activities and games to foster understanding, speaking, reading and writing in 0 to 15-year-old children. The link is in the description. If you like this video, please click subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I publish a new video.